It's good. Pritchard banks it home with 0.2 of a second remaining.
Payton Pritchard has been generating a lot of buzz throughout league circles after his first couple of weeks in the league started out hot. Someone who was a relatively unknown, the Boston Celtics' late first-round pick prospect became a national headline in the blink of an eye. But is Pritchard just going through a lucky stretch, or is he really as good as many people say? Join us now as we take a look at how good Payton Pritchard actually is. This past January 6th, the Boston Celtics were close to one of the most embarrassing meltdowns in the history of NBA basketball. With 77 seconds left on the game clock, Boston held a 10-point lead over the Miami Heat. It looked like Boston would get a decisive victory in their first encounter with the Heat, but the tables were very quick to turn as the Celtics made mistake after mistake and collapsed. Miami's Duncan Robinson hit a three-pointer that cut the lead to 7. Jason Tatum missed a shot on the other end, before Boston fouled Duncan Robinson in another three-point basket that became a 4-point play with the ensuing free throw. The Heat got another defensive stop, and Goran Dragic made one more three-pointer that tied up the game. The Celtics had very little time left. Marcus Smart drove to the basket and shot a contested layup that didn't even hit the rim over 2 Heat defenders. That's when Payton Pritchard, from out of nowhere, grabbed the rebound off the backboard and made a putback layup that spun all around the rim before making it through the hoop. Boston went up 107-105 with 0.2 of a second remaining. Pritchard had just won them the game. It was the second time in as many games that Pritchard made a loud statement. Just 2 nights earlier, Pritchard exploded for a career-high 23 points and 8 assists while shooting 8 for 13 from the field and 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Thanks in part to Pritchard's performance, the Celtics were able to put out another longtime rival, the Toronto Raptors, in a 12-point win. All of a sudden, a late first-round pick who most casual fans didn't even know was all over SportsCenter and inside the NBA, making headlines. But Pritchard was just showing he was built for those moments, and he was ready to become a game-defining player in the NBA. The question was never whether Pritchard could become a serviceable NBA player. It was how long it would take for him to develop into such. Those who have followed his career for some time saw the potential in him years ago, and what he did against the Raptors and the Heat isn't anything new. Pritchard averaged 21 points and 6 assists in his senior college season with the Oregon Ducks. He hit a 30-foot three-point game-winning bomb over 2 defenders about 1 year to this day that completed a 16-point comeback. He was one of the few college players that opponents had to double or triple team because of how dangerous he is as a scorer. There was never any doubt he'd continue his path of dominance in the NBA, but as we all know, it's hard to come into the league and contribute to a winning team right away unless you're A, a very high draft pick, which Pritchard wasn't, or B, a good opportunity to step up becomes available and the player capitalizes. For Pritchard, the stars aligned and gave him the opportunity of a lifetime with option B. Before the start of the 2020-21 regular season, the Boston Celtics announced that Kemba Walker would miss the first couple of weeks of the season due to a left knee injury. This was a huge blow to the Celtics' already thin guard depth, as they were losing one of their top scorers and their main ball handler. Sure, the team still had Jeff Teague, a proven veteran and a former starting point guard, but Teague has been nothing close to how good he was in his lone All-Star season in 2015. The Celtics were forced to slide Marcus Smart to the starting point guard position, despite him being a more natural shooting guard. Smart is answered by delivering a career-high 6.4 assists per game, but shooting an awful near career-low 35.2% from the field. From there out, the options at guard were few. Javonte Green, Carson Edwards, and Tremont Waters have all been given shots, but they've been mostly unimpressive in the 3 to 4 games they've appeared in. Meanwhile, Pritchard is only one of 3 Celtics players to appear in each of their regular season games up to this point, and is averaging the 5th most minutes per game despite not starting in a single one of them. And he isn't getting all of these opportunities and playing time only because he was the Celtics' first-round pick. It's because he's proven himself and made the most out of what he's been given up to this point. Pritchard developed into a college star during his senior year at Oregon, making him an intriguing NBA draft prospect at age 22 due to the fact he was more likely able to contribute to a team right away. But still, had Kemba Walker not gone down with an injury, it's really unlikely we would have seen as much as we have from Pritchard thus far. So let's take a look at what he brings to the table and why he's been so important for the Celtics this early on. But before we do, make sure to leave a comment down below and let us know your first impression of Pritchard. Payton Pritchard plays with the confidence of an NBA superstar. You can just see it. He's patient and calm, and his demeanor never gets out of control. This allows him to operate smoothly both as an on- and off-ball point guard. His offensive versatility makes him very easy to play with, as he's willing to take on any role depending on what the team needs. While he used to be a more ball-dominant point guard in college, he's played a bit more shooting guard in the NBA, and he's using his diverse scoring skill set to help the team. Pritchard has proven capable of hitting both catch-and-shoot threes and off-the-dribble long-range bombs. Here, you can see Pritchard making a deep catch-and-shoot three. And the fact he's capable of knocking them down from a couple of feet behind the three-point line really opens up the court for the Celtics. Pritchard is shooting 52.9% on catch-and-shoot threes, a mark that may be unsustainable on a longer sample size, but still shows you he can hit threes at a high rate. That alone makes him a valuable piece on any team. You can also see him comfortably draining a step-back three over a much taller Blake Griffin in a different game. It may not have been the best shot in that situation, as Boston still had 12 seconds left on the shot clock, but he's already made a couple of step-backs, and that only makes him that much more of a dangerous long-range threat. Even though Pritchard may be more prone to creating offense for himself, he's great at recognizing when the defense is on him and a better opportunity opens up for one of his teammates. On this play, watch how Pritchard recognizes the mismatch with Robert Williams. Even though he can make the entry pass to the post, he instead beats Jonas Valanciunas and draws Williams' defender, leaving the big man open for an easy alley-oop assist. Now watch how he perfectly sets up the Celtics' other Williams, Grant Williams, for an easy basket after once again drawing the attention of the defense. Both of these were assists off drives, and teams only respect him so much down low because they know he can be dangerous inside the paint. Despite only standing at 6'1", Pritchard has shown some impressive skills to finish through contact, even dating back to his college days. But as good as he looked back then, it seems as if he's taking his finishing to another level. Watch how Pritchard drives toward the rim with big man Domantas Sabonis roaming around the paint. He rose up for the layup with his right hand while using his left to minimize Sabonis' coverage. Assuming he can do this consistently without extending his arm, in which case he'd be called for an offensive foul, he's going to be really hard to stop at the rim due to how much space he's able to create. Sabonis was a common victim for Pritchard in that game against the Pacers, as later on in that same game you can see Pritchard once again looked for contact and masterfully used his body to create separation while also drawing a foul for an and-one play. You rarely ever see this type of attention to detail from a rookie, but it shouldn't be that surprising from Pritchard because of all the experience he acquired playing 4 years of college hoops. One more admirable aspect of his game early on has been his defensive intensity. Again, at 6'1" and with a 6'4" wingspan, he doesn't have elite physical tools to be a good defender in the league. But Pritchard has held his own on the defensive end thanks to his hustle and 110% effort. Watch how Pritchard picks up Killian from half court and stays with him for the entire possession before forcing a jump ball. Here, Pritchard plays excellent switch defense on Spencer Dinwiddie without really having to switch on DeAndre Jordan, as he keeps his hands extended in the middle of the passing lane and deflects the ball before securing the steal. These may seem like minor details, but when a player who isn't supposed to be a positive on the defensive end shows commitment and effort on defense, it shows you what he's all about. Overall, Pritchard has a very analytics-friendly shot chart that mostly consists of three-point opportunities and shots at the rim. And we've seen how when his plan A doesn't work out, he's always ready to shift to plan B and find a teammate for an easy basket. It's as if Pritchard always knows what to do when he has the ball in his hands. Plus, he can also be a very impactful player when he doesn't have the ball. And his greatest asset is that he doesn't seem to disappear even when his shot isn't falling or when things aren't going his way. Speaking of shots not falling, it's important to note that rookies are often prone to varying degrees of inconsistency, and it's no different with Pritchard. His stats for the season look really nice, as Pritchard is averaging 8.6 points, 3.1 assists, and 3.1 steals on 51.6% shooting from the field and 42.3% from deep, but these really nice stats hide some not-so-good performances. Before making the game-winning tip-in layup against the Heat, Pritchard went 2 for 9 from the field. He's also averaging almost 2 turnovers on less than 23 minutes per game. But do you know what the most surprising part is? His numbers are still really good for a rookie. Pritchard leads all rookies in plus-minus with a plus 45. He's top 10 in points scored, 3rd on field goal percentage, 5th on three-point accuracy, 1st in free throw percentage, and 5th in assists. And as a late first-rounder, he's not even supposed to be there. The Celtics took a chance by drafting Pritchard, and so far it's clear to everybody that decision paid off. Boston has found a quality role player that fits multiple holes thanks to his versatility and due to his 4-year college experience. He's someone who can contribute right away. Whether he can become a starting point guard in the league depends on how consistent he is as time passes by. But there's no denying the kid is really good and really talented. Worst case scenario, Pritchard spends his career as a quality backup guard that contributes across the board. Best case scenario, Pritchard rises to all-star status and becomes one of the top point guards in the league. His diverse offensive skill set is a perfect fit anywhere. He's shown he's willing to put in the work on defense as well. We can't imagine there's any team who wouldn't want a player who does so much. So don't be surprised if in 5 seasons he's already starring at point guard for one team. Because for a guy as talented as Payton Pritchard, the sky is only the limit. Do you like Pritchard's game? How good do you think he'll be in 3 to 5 years? Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel.